Hey everyone, this is DC Howard, founder and principal coach of Wayineers, where it's our goal that you reach your destination success by letting us help you calculate your route. And we're back yet again for a phenomenal Tactic Thursday. For those of you who are just joining us, or this may be your first time tuning in, Tactic Thursday is a time where we come together and we discuss an issue or a matter that you may be dealing with personally, professionally, or relationally, and how to overcome that matter. And so you're in for a great treat as we are going to do part 2 of our series of overcoming stress. Once again, overcoming stress. For those of you who have not been able to check it out, go back to part 1 of this series of overcoming stress on last week, where we talked about being able to differentiate between pressure and stress. Once again, being able to clearly differentiate between pressure and stress. And we talked about how on last week, pressure is being able to utilize your resources as forces over a particular area, but stress is rather a result of physical, mental, or emotional tension that you may be dealing with in an area that's also causing physical, mental, or emotional injury. All right? And so this week, we want to actually give you a surefire method of how to overcome stress and basically being able to equate it to a process that all of us ideally are very much so familiar with. And so I would like to cordially introduce you to the E8E method of overcoming stress. Once again, the E8E, E8E method of overcoming stress. And so as I often do, I like explaining things from an anecdotal or a scientific fashion. And so, of course, all of you that are human beings, because I don't think we have any birds or any amphibians or any reptiles that are watching this particular episode, is that all of us as human beings have to eat in order to survive. Well, when you're eating, you're doing 3 things, and which will break this down even more when it comes to overcoming stress. You're evaluating, you're absorbing, and you're transforming. Once again, that you're evaluating, you're absorbing, and then you're transforming, okay? And so what do I mean by that? When you usually go to eat, the first thing you're doing is you're evaluating your options. And so you're saying, okay, based on how I feel right now, or based on what I'm sensing in my body, what are the actual food items that I need to eat, that I want to eat, that I desire to eat, that are going to make me, one, feel better and or perform better in this particular scenario. And so you're able to evaluate everything that you're going to put into your body. After you have evaluated it and actually gone through the actual motions of chewing, eating, swallowing, etc., your body now within your stomach and within your gastrointestinal system is doing 2 things, and more specifically, it's absorbing. It's absorbing the actual nutrients that you have been able to receive from those particular food elements that you've now consumed, and then it's also abdicating, even sometimes I get messed up in my words, the waste or the byproducts that it doesn't need, and how ultimately it goes out of your excretory, sorry about that guys, system when it comes down to doing number 1 or doing number 2. And then from thirdly, once it's now absorbed the nutrients, then it now transforms those nutrients into the actual fuel that you need when it comes to being able to utilize your muscles, being able to utilize your cells, being able to utilize your organs, and even more so, being able to actually have full function of your systems. So once again, you ultimately evaluate what it is that you want to put in your body. After you've actually gone through the actual act of consumption, then now your body is able to absorb the actual nutrients and abdicate the actual waste. And then from there, your body is able to transform those nutrients into actual energy that's needed for your cells, your tissues, your organs, and your systems. Well, let's look at that same process when it comes down to overcoming stress. So the first thing in that, just with that same method, is let's evaluate our stress. Number 1, where are the root causes of these particular areas of stress? 2, am I personally either the root cause, or am I further enabling these root causes of stress? And then 3, what are the actual environments that I find myself most stressed in? And so, for instance, being able to look at this from a personal standpoint, let's talk about stress when it comes to how you feel about how you look in your actual body image. So going back to the root causes of that, some of the root causes may be that when you grew up, that you were not given a lot of compliments on how you look, or rather you may have been teased or you may have been mocked on how you look as a man or as a woman. Also, going back to that same method, is am I a part of the root cause in that every time I go into a store, when I go to pick out clothes, or even when I'm at home and I'm looking in the mirror, that I say, oh my goodness, I look too fat in this. Oh my goodness, I've got such a gut in this. Oh my goodness, I don't like the way my figure looks in this. And so now, am I also becoming more of a root cause in that? And then thirdly, being able to determine the environments that I'm also experiencing this stress. Do I find that I'm experiencing this stress when I go into a store and actually I'm going to try something on? Am I experiencing this stress when I'm around friends or around a significant other when it comes to how I think they're going to judge me based on how I look? And being able to see, okay, these are those particular areas in which I'm experiencing, or environments that I'm experiencing this stress the most. So then now that we've evaluated where our stress is coming from, are we a part of the root cause? What are the root causes? Okay, now let's absorb the nutrients of that. As in, let's absorb what is the truth behind this. Yes, there are facts, but what is the truth? And so going back to that same example of body image, yes, the facts are that I may be a size 14 versus a size 8. Yes, it may be the fact that I may have a size 42 waist versus a size 32 waist. That may be the fact. But the truth is that I have not become comfortable in my own skin. That is the underlying truth. And that's what we need to absorb. We need to be able to absorb that I have not become comfortable in my own skin. And then abdicate all of the waste that's around that. I need to throw away, I need to abdicate anything that's taking me away from that truth. And the fact that if I want to fake the funk and say that, well, I feel good looking in this, but I don't feel good looking in this. Yes, abdicate that funk, because yes, you do feel good looking in that one outfit, but congratulations. We can't wear, or at least you shouldn't wear, that same outfit every single day. When are you going to take the time to absorb the truth? You got to be able to absorb your truth. And then once you're able to absorb your truth, it allows for a lot of the stress to go away, because you're no longer causing tension. You're no longer causing that physical tension. You're no longer causing that mental tension. You're no longer causing that emotional tension within yourself, because you've eliminated those root causes. You've gotten down to what is the truth of the matter. And so in that same body image component, the truth of the matter is I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. And so now that I'm able to absorb that truth, now when I go to the third point, okay, how do I transform that into a positive? Is being able to now reframe my thinking, being able to reframe how I view this particular matter and say, okay, right now I don't feel comfortable in my own skin, but what are some ways that I can begin to feel comfortable in my own skin? That may look like literally doing, as we say in the Christian faith confessions, as we say in the rest of the world or in other parts of the world, self-talk. And the fact that when you get out of that shower in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror, you find one new thing that you like about your body. And the great part about that is that it doesn't have to be perfections per se. It can be own unique individual capacities that you have. Giving a personal example of myself, growing up, I was teased beyond measure about my ears. I was teased beyond measure about my ears. And I had to ultimately realize the truth that at times I wasn't comfortable with the way that my ears are sized, as well as how they look on my face. But then it came to a point where I had to absorb that truth and then transform it into something that will fuel me. And then I began to say, wow, because of the size and the shape and the design of my ears, I'm able to hear a lot of things that the average person can't hear. Because of the design and the shape of my ears, actually it works really, really well on the fact that I have a bald head that's shaven bald. And so therefore it helps even add to my look. And so I was able to absorb that truth of, okay, I feel some type of way about my ears, but then be able to transform it into fuel that I could therefore utilize in a positive way and in a positive light. So it no longer became stress for me, but rather it became pressure, going back to last week, that I was able to utilize in certain areas that now work for me. So when individuals would try to tease me, I would say, well, actually, you can say what you want about my ears, but actually my ears are working way even better than you think they were. And so just like how you say they're so big, well, congratulations. They can hear things that you can't hear. I can hear things all the way in Florida that you can't hear. I can hear things all the way in China that you can't hear. And it was really, really interesting to see bullies literally have nothing else to say because all I did was take the truth that I absorbed and transform it for my good. And so looking at your life, I know that was a very comical example and simple example, but looking at your life, what are from the truth that you now absorb, what are you now able to transform to work for you that now can become positive pressure? So, okay, I realize the fact of the matter that right now in my job, I'm not making the amount of money that I want to make. That's the truth. That's the ultimate truth that I now absorb. Now that I've absorbed that truth, okay, how can I transform that into a better way? So now, given my capacity to think, process, and plan, how can I now execute a budget that I'm able to now maximize my life with the resources that I have, but also be able to enjoy my life even more because now I've absorbed that truth and transformed it into something positive. Or next level, how can I be able to add more income into my area by starting a business, picking up a secondary job so that I'm able to absorb that truth that I don't currently have the money that I want to be able to do the things I want, but that now I can be able to get to a place where I can transform that into a positive light. And so once again, being able to overcome stress, it seems complex, but it's very simple. Number one, evaluate where the stress is. So what are the root causes? Am I also adding or enabling the stress? And then what environments am I experiencing that stress? Am I experiencing that stress the most? Number two, being able to absorb the nutrients, absorb the actual truth. You cannot allow yourself to lie to yourself and think that you're going to be able to overcome stress. So you have to absorb what is that central truth that I'm experiencing in all of this, because ultimately all this tension is trying to get me to a truth. The tension is trying to get me to a truth. And then three, once I've now come to understand and realize that truth, how can I therefore transform that truth into being able to be something that's positive and fuel that will actually turn that stress into pressure, that I'm able to use my forces for good in a particular area. I hope this has been helpful to you. Hopefully not just this episode, but last week's episode and how you can overcome stress. Another way you can overcome stress, book a session with us at www.wayineers.com. Once again, that's www.wayinees, that's two E's, rs.com. And also feel free to continue to like, continue to share, continue to post, continue to comment. By the way, I would love to hear your feedback. So if this has been a great help to you, type in some feedback on Facebook or Instagram at Wayineers when you see this video, because that will let me know that we're moving in the right direction and that we're really helping you once again reach your goal of success by letting us help you calculate your route. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, a phenomenal weekend, and I look forward to seeing and speaking with you soon.